All right, welcome to the Zcash Gardening Club. So today is Tuesday, August 4th. We got a packed schedule. You'll see there's a bunch of presentations, more than we planned for, but I thought it would be better to hear the status updates for all of them instead of waiting for a month for some of them, because a month is a long time these days in Zcash land. So if you're new, this is just a meeting for people working on open source projects related to Zcash to show up and share their project and connect with each other, and for the public to show up and just ask them questions and also learn how to get involved with those projects. And we begin with some announcements first, and then we'll jump into those presentations. Each one is just a 5-minute slot. And then if we have time, we do Q&A, or discussion, but that part is not recorded if you're watching the recording. So if you want to participate in the discussion or the questions, you got to show up to next month. Okay, moving along. So some big announcements. Just a reminder that the Major Grants Review Committee submission deadline is September 1st. So if you want to run as a candidate to be on the Major Grants Review Committee, please make sure to go over to the forum and check that out and make a post and introduce yourself. This is going to be a major thing because this committee will be allocating a lot of Zcash, and that Zcash cannot go to ECC or the Zcash Foundation. It's going to other projects. So I'm really excited about the impact that will have on Zcash, and this is a really important thing to get involved with. The next is ECC released Zcash D 3.1.0, and that's the first release that has the Canopy code. So Canopy is the next network upgrade that happens, I think, November-ish, and that's that institutes this new dev fund that the MGRC will be distributing. So that's pretty exciting. Right now, this release just has that code on testnet. So if you're curious about interacting with that, go check out that testnet. The third thing is really important and kind of sad, but Josh Cincinnati, who has been the executive director of the Zcash Foundation from the start, is moving on. And I encourage everyone to go read his post. I really appreciate what he's done, and the Zcash Foundation and his work there has really leveled up Zcash, I think. Without it, Zcash wouldn't be nearly as robust, and it wouldn't be along where it is today without his efforts. So I really appreciate that, and I wish him well, and you all should wish him well and go check out his post. And I already saw a tweet from him this morning. He's getting more toddler time, which is really awesome for him. So I'm happy to see that. The next announcement, Arborist Call, is on Thursday. So Arborist is kind of a companion meeting to this. Arborist Call is much more, it's completely focused on Zcash protocol development, and it's an open public meeting, but it's much more like there's an in-depth agenda, and you show up if you want to discuss those things, and anyone is welcome. I think on Thursday, I'm going to be presenting a bit of work about the components of the Zcash protocol and what actions they can do. So it's sort of related to use cases, but it's a little bit different. And then we have a presentation about testnet in a box, which is something the ECC DevOps team has made, which I'm excited about because that allows anyone to sort of experiment with their own changes to the protocol in an easy to reproduce way in their own little laboratory. So hopefully that could be of interest to some of the projects here in the gardening club. So come check that out. And there's a bunch of other updates on that link at the bottom. And so that's it for announcements. Let me double check chat. All right. All right, so here are the speakers we have lined up, and then I think there might even be some more announcements after we get through all of these. So let's just dive in. So let's start with Thomas from Zboard. And oh, also each time for each speaker, let me know if you want the screen or if you just want to rely on our slide.
Okay. So this is Thomas from Team Zboard. Nice to meet you all again. Let's share some interesting new updates because we're almost done basically with the release of Zboard. We have like internal testing mode now enabled, and we should be able to put this into production, I'd say like in a few days from here, maybe a week or two. So at this point, also I can already show you a quick live demo. I promise we'll keep it short, but just for you to get the feeling how to use it and how to post and what the new features are. Okay, so so please let me know if you don't see the new Zboard main landing page here.
We see it.
Amazing. Okay, so we kept it clean, and we decided to keep basically the layout or the idea of the layout that we had before, like a topic section and posts for each topic. For all of you who don't know Zboard yet, basically the idea and the okay, so basically the idea is to have a completely decentralized and anonymous news platform based on the Zcash blockchain using the memo field. And basically now that's what we see here. Okay, so let me show you the main page. So the main page contains, of course, a search bar. You can search for text, titles, but also like within posts and messages, you're completely free to look up anything that's of interest to you. There are tags that can be put into messages. We will have a look at them in a second, but let's, for example, let's add the tag Zcash. Might be a tag that we actually have here. And yes, it looks like we have a topic that contains posts with the tag Zcash in it. So that already works. We can, of course, also do full text search, whatever. And the idea now is that people can create topics. That's one new and exciting features, which we have also written about in our new, basically in our new how-to page and how-to section. There's a lot basically to read here, and also a thorough introduction how to use this. But one interesting part here is that now have a shielded address that can receive specifically formatted and designed messages. And those messages, they are described basically also on the how-to page. And the idea is that based on only this Zcash shielded address, we can create topics on the website, so that our vision, okay, that moves into the direction of our vision, which is that the whole topics and posts for each topic basically can be deserialized only from the Zcash blockchain. And for this to work, we also need to create topics basically by sending messages, and that's here what we do. So by sending a message to the topic shielded address, one is able to create topics here with a description and so on. And now the interesting thing is when we look at the topics, then of course we can assign tags, and tags are drawn from the posts within topics. So whenever somebody is posting something with a hashtag inside, the site will identify and will show trending tags basically. And the other thing is, or as you are already used to, we have for each topic a shielded address, of course. And the shielded address you can copy, but you can also look at the QR code. And we can, of course, also search within this topic. And now we have much more features compared to the original Zboard for sending messages. So we support complete Markdown. So this includes emojis, but also like headings and headlines and any formatting basically that you can think of from Markdown. We support, of course, the tags. There are some features when you basically can tags, you can already filter them and have much more interactive way of navigating through the site. And you can, of course, also post images and videos and links and whatever you like. And on top of this, of course, you can upvote and you can downvote, and the messages which have some high proportion of downvotes, they will be hidden because they might be inappropriate. We know that we need to develop much better moderation methods and features in the future, but we think this is a very good baseline. We can start putting this basically into production. And you can share on Twitter and whatever you like. But that's the major look and feel. And we can also like switch the theme, but whatever you like. So that's the beta testing, and I guess my time is up. And we will Twitter about when we put it public, and then we welcome your feedback, of course, how you like it and what things we could improve. Thanks a lot.
All right, thanks. This looks great. Awesome.
Aditya, looks like it's next.
Cool. Hey guys, my name is Aditya Kulkarni. I'm the developer behind Zec Wallet. So today I want to give a quick update of what's been going on with Zec Wallet. About a week ago or 2 weeks ago, a new version of Zec Wallet was released that supports view keys. Now, view keys are cool because as I all know, Zcash, Z addresses, you can split your private key into two parts. One part is a view key that provides sort of read-only access to your funds in that Z address, and the spending key, which is like the real private key that allows you to spend funds from it. And so with the new version of Zec Wallet, what you can do is you can import the view key into Zec Wallet and create basically view-only wallets where you'll be able to see incoming transactions and incoming and outgoing transactions without risking your funds, because even if that wallet leaks or even if that your computer gets hacked or whatever, they won't be able to spend the funds from that address because the spending key is not present. This, of course, has a lot of cool use cases. The one thing you can do is, for example, create a paper wallet offline. So Zec Wallet has a paper wallet version that you can run offline on like a isolated, not connected device, including like a Raspberry Pi, where you can generate Zcash addresses along with their private keys and view keys, and then you can take your private key and put it in a safe or whatever, and you can bring the view key to your internet connected computer, import the view key into Zec Wallet, and then you can watch your wallet accumulate funds as you accumulate all the Zcash in the world, and watch the number go up and have fun with it. And then eventually when you're ready to spend, you can then import the corresponding spending key and then spend the funds. So this way you don't put your wallet at risk because the wallet only has a view key part. There are, of course, many other interesting use cases as well, where you can publish your view key publicly. So for example, Zboard has that thing. I don't know if they have it now, but last time they had it where they would publish their view key for individual topic boards. And you can then import the view key and have your own version of Zboard. Like you can view the public Zboard in your own wallet. And that way you can ensure you're getting like uncensored access to it and stuff like that. The other cool thing about Zec Wallet that launched with those view keys was it now features a vastly improved sync algorithm. So previously the light client, it was somewhat, while it's still much faster than a full node, it was still somewhat slow. But the new sync algorithm with Zcash Wallet light client now is able to use all of your CPU cores. So if you have like, an 8-core processor or whatever, it can parallelize the decryption into all the 8 cores, and it vastly improves sync speed. And it can now sync about 3,500 blocks per second. So about like three days worth of Zcash blocks per second, allowing you to like, open the wallet rarely, that way you don't have to wait for the sync, and the wallet will catch up very quickly. This is available on the desktop version already, and I'm hoping to get it out on the iOS and Android apps as well, which will help you sort of get started with the wallet much faster than was possible before. Yeah, those are the only two things I had. Back to you.
Awesome. Those both sound amazing. Thanks. Let's see. Next up, we have Linda from ECC.
Hi, everyone. Sorry about that. I'd like to share my screen right there. Here we go. I'd like to introduce myself as the new owner of documentation. I know that I've been at ECC for about 3 years now, but I've switched my focus in the last couple months to really improve the documentation we have for our community. And I think that there's a bunch of new changes that I'd like to talk about. And in addition to that, I want to increase community engagement with the docs. So I'm just going to have a little spiel about that right here. So this is what the documentation looked like a little bit ago, about a month ago. I think I added this list of quick links so that it would be more helpful on the front page, but it was just a little bit disorganized on the side. And although we have had good documentation and we've gotten a lot of praise for that, we did get the feedback that it's not very approachable, and it's only useful once you know everything about Zcash and you know what you're looking for. So to combat that, I've added some introductory material based on some community feedback, along with just organizing things with room to grow. So I'll show you what I mean. The first page now is very simple. I think that I would still like community feedback on what are the most used resources to make this the most useful. This is just my guess. We have a Zcash basics page, which is new. It links to some videos that we're really proud of, has a quick summary of the features, the protocol, and the project history, all from pre-launch to current, which is pretty nice. We have some community spaces so that if you want to know where everything is, it's all in one place now. And the overview of the architecture and cryptography, along with stuff like development best practices. Instead of having all these pages on the side, I feel like there's a little blurb to let you know if you want to view something or not. We've also grouped all of the technical pages under the specific client or service that you want to interact with, whether it's the full node, if you want to contribute to the protocol, and things like that. So I'm pretty excited about the changes. I'm here to plug the fact that documentation is new, as well as to get your feedback. I have created a simple poll. It is just 2 questions. What are your most referenced resources? And do you have any other feedback? So I'm going to drop that link into the community chat, into the Zoom chat, and have Elena post it in the next update for you guys, because I want to know. And also, I would like to highlight a feature that I didn't know very well, but it might lower the barrier to some of you guys updating documentation. If you click on Edit on GitLab, it takes you to the GitLab page, which, yes, duh, that's a little bit obvious, but I didn't know until recently that if you click on a specific page, for instance, there's this edit feature. So if you see a spelling error, or if you just want to make a change like this, you can easily submit a small commit to me. I'll review it, and we can get those changes up. So if you see anything you want to add a little sentence or two. I think that this was invisible to me. I actually found out that this edit on GitHub button existed a week ago, even though it's been there for a while. So we're going to try to make it more accessible and to have more community interaction with the doc. So it's more of a living document with comments and things like that. But for now, I just encourage you to go check it out, give me some feedback, and to make any edits if you've been itching to do so, because that new feature makes it a little bit easier than before. So that's it for me.
Thanks, that looks great. I love the live editing.
Yeah, super
Hopefully that's
easy.
helpful for people. All right, next up we have Juan from Zondax.
Hi everyone, and thank you for the invitation. And we are super glad to provide an update on the work we've been doing on adding support for shielded transactions on Ledger application, on Ledger devices. This is an effort that started like kind of 1 or 2 years ago with Jack Stratt doing a presentation on Zcon1 showing that it was possible to run red job in Ledger devices, and that led to a feasibility analysis that like Zondax did on this. And we started with implementation, and now we are reaching milestone 2 where things start to make more sense, and they start to give us a bit more confidence that everything is possible. So I wanted to give you kind of like a quick idea of where we are, and also to explain why this has taken so long and this is quite hard. So basically, Ledger devices have a very, very limited amount of memory. So Ledger Nano X has only like 4,096 bytes, so 4K. Typically, the call stack is limited to half a K. And when running something like really, really optimized, we can get like 2.8K. So running the whole cryptography and Zcash sapling on 2.8K has been like really, really hard. So what we did during the feasibility analysis, we had a look at red job and understand if it was possible to do a bit of like address generation and signing. Initially, it seemed kind of like quite feasible, but this is what we did during milestone 1. So during milestone 1, we managed to get Ledger devices to generate like shielded addresses and everything. And milestone 2 was a little harder because we realized that there were like a few components like PSN commitments or other kind of like cryptographic primitives that were also really hard to get into that limited memory. So we are happy that we managed to do that. There are other challenges that I wrote there. Basically, we have a mixed implementation that involves like an SDK that is in C and cryptography that is in Rust. We had to re-implement quite a fair amount of the cryptography to be able to fit that into these devices. And we have like some issues with, that are very technical, like non-constant time multiplications. In addition to all this, typically development for Ledger devices is quite complicated. You have to deal with like GDB, QEMU, and very complex tools. So it took some time. Where we are today, now that we submitted milestone 2, we have functional applications where you can do address generation and unshielded signing. The user interface and the integration APIs are ready. So you can start already to use the integration libraries written in JavaScript and Rust to do address generation, getting the public keys, the viewing keys, and all these things are already generated properly. And all the building blocks for the cryptography are working, and they are fitting. And I mean, we are like all testing that with integration test in emulation. So, and actually real devices. So we have like SIP32 support with the kind of like hybrid model that maybe I can discuss like later on in detail. PSN commitments, we have like a red job, we have like Chacha, Poly 1305, value, no commitments, and no nullifiers. So in general, we have all the building blocks. And what milestone 3 is about is we have to combine all the parsing code with the user interface and the cryptography, so all things match up. Basically, we now at this point we don't see any kind of big blocker as we were like kind of like worried before. So I think that milestone 3 is going to be the point where we start to work a bit more with like a web wallet or desktop wallet developers on the integration part, and try to be sure that we comply with all the interfaces and APIs that the community needs. So quick overview on where things are. So we submitted milestone 1 on April 2020. Milestone 2 was submitted like very recently, and we expect milestone 3 to be ready by late September, where we will have like full sapling support with shielded and unshielded addresses. And then we need to do a bit of work to have the application to be backwards compatible to the old application that was like running in Ledger Live. So that's a bit of a challenge, but it's not going to be too hard. So we expect like late September to be able to make a submission to Ledger so they can review the app and publish publicly. In the meantime, if you want to use the app, we have in the release section a script that can allow you to sideload that into an NanoS device. But obviously, I recommend that you use only that for development purposes, and please do not use that in Ledger devices where you have like actual real funding, like funds. So yeah, that's where we are today, and looking forward to bringing good news now in end of September.
All right.
Thank you very much.
That's great progress. Thanks for breaking down the milestones for us. Super exciting. All right. Next up, we have Nestor from Zact.
Hello. Hello. Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Nathan, for inviting me to present this time. Okay. So basically, I participated into the privacy hackathon with Gitcoin, and I was awarded. So basically, I would like to present what is this project about. And before that, to make things kind of different, I would like to say why and then what. So why? Well, basically, I have been working with nonprofit organizations around 6 years. Basically, for instance, last trip that I had was to attend a nonviolent action program in Ecuador. So basically, I'm connected with many activists that work in the field in Latin America. And basically, I have seen this need for privacy. So because of this background linked with my background on technology, I proposed this project. So because of that, I'm gonna present this video that explains pretty much what is the video about, what is the project about.
Citizen protests for lack of democracy, inequality, discrimination, and an endless list of social injustices are at a dangerous point. Around the world, several are examples of civil protests shut down by police, military, or paramilitary forces. A common factor of failure of these shutdown procedures is the security in its communication mechanisms. For this weak link in the chain, we propose the use of 2 layers of security: geofencing barriers and zero-knowledge snark shield memo transactions. To explain how the app works, we will mention the workflow from 2 different perspectives: creator and attendee. By default, when the user installs the app, it will start as an attendee, having the option to view the available events to attend. But if he wants to publish one event, he will need to go to the Information tab and become a creator, adding the seed phrase from a Zcash shield address with available funds. This information will never be shared and will always remain in the device. Now, to add an event, you will need to add first a title and public information. Then you will receive the 2 last words of the seed phrase generated of the event Zcash shield address that will be used to send secure messages. As a creator, you will need to put these words on a public place inside the area of the meeting point. And finally, you can send as many memos as you want, having in mind the only message the attendee observes will be the last one. For the attendee, the workflow is simpler. You will open the tab and view the available events. If you are interested in one, you will be able to view the title, public information, and meeting point. Once you arrive at the place, you will need to add the missing words inside the geographical area delimited in the map due to the geofence requirement. Then, once the seed phrase is complete, a synchronization with the Zcash blockchain starts to reveal the last message sent to this address from the creator address. C-Act, location-based, Zcash-backed, event planning.
Right, so that's basically the project, what's the project about. And for the next steps, what I will say is first, if I have the opportunity to continue working on this project, will be first to validate if this is the right approach with potential users, where I have the right connection with these teams of activism in Latin America. If not, we'll adapt the prototype in order to be more useful for them, and then run several focal groups in order to validate this prototype. So basically, that's where am I right now, and I'm happy to connect, to receive feedbacks, and so on and so forth. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you. That's quite a video. Okay, next up, we have Aditya from Nighthawk. Are you here? Are you ready?
Yes, I'm here. Thanks for the invite.
All right. Yeah, welcome.
On my screen as well. All right. So for the Nighthawk Wallet, the current status is we have it launched in the Play Store. We plan to be a Z2Z only wallet with a focus on privacy. The current plan is to have rolling out upgrades, maybe bi-weekly or monthly, for bug fixes and other maintenance related changes. The iOS version is still on hold as we need to do some more internal testing before starting the application to the App Store. And our overall ask to the community is, what features would you like to see in our privacy-focused application, and how to maintain the balance between protecting users' privacy versus adding third-party integrations, as we'd like to make this wallet a feature-rich tool to do all things Zcash. So we see a lot of new features like viewing keys, Zboard messages, Zbay app. So if there's a place where you could keep the identity or the communications from one place, that's somewhere we would like to take this project, if that's what the community supports us. But for now, the wallet is pretty simple. It's supposed to be an easy to use and view Zcash transactions, limited to Z2Z only. We have an intro or a help section link added over here to take the user to the Zcash website, because this is something we find whenever we introduce cryptocurrencies or Zcash to anyone, is that they have very less knowledge about how this could be used or why they would want this. So we have some other asks to add some kind of an onboarding or help tutorials for new users specifically. For the funding mechanism, for now, we added the link to SideShift. That way, if a user has other cryptocurrencies, they could fund their Nighthawk wallet with it. So the Zcash shielded is pre-selected. The user just has to paste their address over here, which is populated once the user opens this link. And then SideShift works for most countries except the US, unfortunately. So we have to deal with some alternatives from there. Going back to the app. So that's pretty much it. Simplistic application. We are open for suggestions and reachable at nighthawkwallet@protonmail.com and through the Twitter channel. So thank you.
Aditya, in the chat, Linda shared some intro materials, or she shared the form from the documentation presentation she did. So maybe if you're looking for onboarding resources, I know there's some already in the docs team, but they can get more.
Yep. We're
Absolutely.
trying to get some feedback to see what's most useful and even work on some video content. So yeah, shoot me your ideas.
Thank you.
All right. Next, we have Aaron with, oh, this is a new project name that I didn't see before, Zauth or Zper.
So I'll just be giving a brief presentation on Zauth 2. Basically, it's a Zcash-based authorization server to allow for private commerce in digital content and services. So I also participated in the ECC hackathon, and with the same idea, a paywalled web application. But that one was using RSA keys delivered in the Zcash transaction memo and HTTP SIGAuth to check the signature and allow access to a given resource. And after the hackathon, I did some reading on the OAuth spec and sort of tweaked the design so that it would be you know, a little bit better, a little bit more standardized. And so basically the new project is an OAuth 2 server that utilizes the same Z to Z registration scheme, basically sending a public key in the memo of a transaction, and then the authorization server would basically register the client that way, allowing them to gain access to some premium content. So this is just a quick flow chart of the registration and authorization flow of the service. So basically, the registration of the clients is offloaded to the Zcash blockchain, and the actual authorization server uses JWT assertions so that the client can signs a JWT token with its private key, and then the server just verifies that against the public key and sends an access token back for the given resource. If you're familiar with OAuth 2, the auth server implements a client credentials grant, which basically means it just gives authorization to anyone who can provide an authentication that they are a registered client. Again, that uses the JWT, but in this version, I changed it to use ECDSA because you know, most crypto users are, or cryptocurrency users are familiar with those types of public keys. So basically the next steps, you know, the current state of the project is a proof of concept prototype. But as it develops, you know, we want to make the authorization server a reusable service that can easily hook into other external resource servers, so that basically if you already have an app or some sort of API, you can just deploy this sort of paywall authorization method and be able to onboard users via the Zcash blockchain. You know, additionally, we want to put in viewing keys and use a light client, HD keys once those are ready, things like that. And JWT grants so that customers can delegate, you know, once they've paid on the blockchain, they can delegate their authorization to some sort of front end service to have better access. And, you know, further down the line, you know, we want to have a really good merchant dashboard that allows merchants to set up their store really easily, similar to how BTC Pay server works. And we also want to have client tools, obviously, because key management. So crypto users are familiar with using their wallets as key management, but this would use your key management device, either a wallet, hardware wallet, something like a browser extension or something like that, to manage basically your online authentication identities. And some of the use cases are pretty standard use cases. Anything that's payable online. So these Patreon services, pay-per-view services, some online services where you want to reduce sign-up spam, you can require just like a minimum donation a one-time donation amount to be able to actually register. And then after that, you can set up your account. You can also set up sort of a credit system if you wanted to do micropayments, where your initial payment would load you with some balance, and then each request will cost one like a minimal, will cost up some micropayment, each request or each data point. And I'm running out of time here, I think, but just really quickly on some of the downsides, it's the purchases and the authorization are not like decentralized or trustless or anything, but the main utility is just that the registration for the service allows customers and merchants to circumvent any points of failure that might be cut off, like payment processors or the actual platform. Like I believe Patreon was deplatforming people, or PayPal and things like that would cut off payments to certain services. So I think that's all the time I have, but yeah, I just want to thank you guys for letting me present here. And I would love to get some feedback from the community on if you think this is a good app to add to the Zcash ecosystem, or if you have any design or technical feedback, that would be great too. All right, thank you.
All right, thanks. Yeah, that's super exciting. Let's see, did we get to the end of the official registered presentations yet? Okay, so before discussion, there's at least 2 other projects that wanted to give updates. Let's keep recording and just shoehorn them in. I think Holmes from Zbay, did you have an update?
I did.
All right.
I just wanted to let everyone know that we're hard at work on a light wallet version of Zbay, so you won't have the large disk space requirement of running a full node, and that sort of takes us in the direction of potentially making a version of Zbay for mobile. but yeah, we're working on that now, and there is a public repo with a version of a light version of Zbay that is fairly easy to install. It still has some bugs, but if you'd like to check it out, it's there. And I think we'll probably be releasing something within a month, conservatively. So yeah, we're really excited about that, and that's made possible by the import viewing key work that Aditya presented on earlier. Yeah, that's it for us.
All right. For people who might not be familiar with the project, can you just give a quick like TLDR for what Zbay is?
Totally, yeah. Zbay is a desktop app that lets you send messages and post things for sale and buy them using Zcash. And we've also rolled our own system for identity that lets you register a human readable username on the Zcash blockchain, and send messages and transact with other people based on their usernames, not just on Zcash addresses. So it's still pretty experimental, but our goal for the project is to make it a messaging app you could use every day, perhaps by moving some of the messaging off chain at some point to make it faster, and make it as private and anonymous as Zcash can be by addressing some of the network layer privacy issues by integrating Tor in a thoughtful way. So yeah, and we're a recipient of a Zcash Foundation grant, and you can learn more about the scope of the grant and the work we're doing on the ZF Grants portal site.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the reminder.
Thanks. And then next we were going to hear from, is it Adesawa on Send Zcash?
Hi, everyone. Okay, so the project is still mostly a work in progress, proof of concept type thing. Okay, but here we go. So Send Zcash is basically an exchange platform for fiat and Zcash, right? So basically you can request fiat currencies from people, and then they put in their regular money and you get Zcash. So it's supposed to help with adoption, so you don't have to worry about people that may not have so much knowledge about crypto and wallets. And if they wanted to interact with people in crypto world, they won't have to go through a whole setup and stuff like that. So let me use one of my old. Okay, so it's still a test net. It's still a test net thingy. It's still working on test net. So I'm not really going to be able to run this as a real thing yet, but let's see. And I think I'll just use that. Okay, so one of the main challenges I had when building this was the fact that most exchange platforms, they let you, if you're trading cryptocurrencies, they let you do it without any KYC. But the moment you want to trade crypto for fiat, they start asking for a lot of data. So I thought that wasn't very privacy wise. So what I did was set up a separate payment processor for that. Then I added an example payment function. It's a Node.js project, so it should be very easy to adapt. So it uses the Zcash memo field. You can just put in a sample message. What is this? Okay, so I'm using test cards, so I'm not worried about privacy issues. So it's the plan for this is to write a few smart contracts so that everything is a lot more transparent. You don't have to worry about trusting whoever is running this. And well, that's it for now, just smart contracts. Okay, yeah, that's it. Then I was hoping to show the wallet, what happens on the wallet side of it, but I don't think I can do that right now because I use the mainnet address instead of a test, but the node is right. It's a test node I'm running for the project right now. So that's it.
All right, thank you. Do you have any requests for help?
Yeah, it's okay. So let me share the GitHub link. If anybody has any ideas or changes they want to make. So the main thing I'd like help with is the whole payment thingy. I'll share the GitHub link now.
One thing to think about, I recently learned about a fiat on-ramp in Mexico that Bitso uses through this company or this business called Oxo. I can send you the link, but I think it might be interesting for everyone, where you can basically go to a teller, give them cash, and then they scan a barcode on your phone. But I'm assuming that if there's a company similar to Oxo in Nigeria or whatever market you're interested in, that could be an interesting use case to have in mind as well. Like somebody just going to a local convenience store and doing the exchange that way.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like that.
Okay. Wow, this has been super action-packed. Do we have any other announcements that you want to be on the recording for? Going once, going twice. Okay.